Well, the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority says that it has facilitated the distribution of 90 million bags of fertilizers to smallholder farmers through the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. This was highlighted at a Presidential Fertilizer Initiative Stakeholders Roundtable here in Abuja. The NSIA explains that this initiative will assist in ensuring fair prices for farm inputs and drive food security measures of the federal government. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative aims to facilitate the local production of 1 million metric tons of blended NPK fertilizer. In the long run, it aims to revive the country's moribund domestic fertilizer blending plants and supply chain, reduce the cost of direct fertilizer subsidies to the federal government, improve accessibility, and deliver commercially significant quantities of affordable, high-quality NPK fertilizers to smallholder farmers in Nigeria.
Through this program, we have witnessed a revival of our domestic fertilizer blending plants, an increase in the diversity of products available to our farmers, and significant savings in logistics costs. These developments have created a more stable and competitive market, ensuring that our farmers can access the inputs they need at fair prices. The increased access to quality fertilizer has not only improved crop yields, but has also contributed to the overall food security and economic stability of our country.
We believe there are strategic positions we need to take, such as the following. 1, expanding the types of raw materials that are being imported, in addition to phosphate and potash and ammonium sulfate. The vehicle can expand to import micronutrients, soluble fertilizers, and fertigation technologies. PFI with PEFSAN can build a fertilizer institute that builds the technical and financial capacity of ecosystem actors. PFI, FIS, and PEFSAN can develop a standard implementation strategy for the Fertilizer Control Act. And lastly, PEFSAN, with support from PFI, can formalize the trade of NPK into the ECOWAS region.
Well, I'm joined by the president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Kabir Ibrahim. Good to see you and thanks for your time. Time was when we were in school. You hear nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, NPK, and it's all about enhancing production. Today, that production is also threatened by the flood situation that Nigeria is experiencing. But again, before we get into that, let us in on this federal government fertilizer initiative and how this can help food security in the country.
Well, this began several years ago. I think during the Buhari days, the PFI was formed as a means to make fertilizer available.
That's the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative,
yes,
PFI.
Yes, that's when it came. Between 2017 and 2020, we received fertilizer like Coca-Cola. It was all over the place, and the price was good. It was first 5,500, and after the pandemic, a further subsidy of 500 naira was given, and we were buying it at 5,000. But from 2021 to date, it's been a problem. The farmers cannot afford it.
Why is that?
Well, the value of our currency went down, and most of these things are imported, you know, the components that they mentioned. We had a pact with Morocco. We were getting them at a very reasonable price, and of course they were giving discounts. I think our government appealed to them, and then after that, we began to import from other places at the prevailing market rates. And then, you know, the blenders had to make up whatever monies they expended. So it has been a bad situation from that to 2021 to date. And then, of course, there are mentions of the effects of climate change and all that. You know, when you have flooding, it even washes away the little fertilizer that you are able to put in one place and all that. So it's in fact, I was at this meeting. I was at the round table, and I was a panelist there. We told them that we want the restoration of what we enjoyed between 2017 and 2020. Let the subsidy really go down to the end users. We want to be able to buy fertilizer all over Nigeria like Coca-Cola, and it should be affordable to us. That way, the hues and cries from consumers will not be as much, because we have to recoup our investments. In fact, some of the farmers are saying they are now getting value for what they produce. Otherwise, people are saying there are terrible hikes in prices. But the fact is that the insecticides, herbicides, the inputs like fertilizers, even labor, we are now paying through our noses for those.
Does it have anything to the insecurity we're dealing with? Some component used for the making of fertilizer can also be used for explosives.
In fact, in the Northeast, there is a limited supply of urea, for instance, and even NPK, because it was found that those people were using some of those components to make bombs to attack people. So there is a serious control of the distribution of it, and that will affect productivity even there. And then on the whole, insecurity is a big threat factor to the attainment of food security, because the farmers cannot seamlessly go to their farms.
They can't go. Farmers have been killed, and now we have floods. Let's jump in on that. How widespread do these floods impact farming communities across Nigeria? What are you hearing from your members?
In fact, funny enough, some areas have flooding, others have drought. I have reports that some of the plantations are drying up because, we had a long break of no rains in so many places. But this forecast was given to us back in February by NIMET.
February 2024.
Yes, every year NIMET releases its predictions, and we are there, and we disseminate this information to all our farmers. We advise our farmers to use seeds that have some resistance to drought. We tell them to avoid planting in flood-prone areas, and we advise them as to clean up their farms, remove whatever clogs, drainages, and all that, so that the effect of flooding will not be that much. But everybody in Nigeria had been in denial of climate change. But you can see this effect is global. These floodings happen everywhere, in the United States, in many other places, in India and all. People lost their lives, livelihood, homes, and everything. It's all over the place.
Yeah, sorry to go to you here. You just said something about seeds, that can withstand drought. So it brings us to the same argument that Nigerians are also having. Speak to us about seeds that can withstand drought, and also put this side by side with are there crops or livestock that can actually withstand the current flooding that we're dealing with?
Well, I don't know about livestock, but I know about crops. Flooding, not yet, it's not, but drought, definitely. I was in the studio arguing with you over the GM crops, and you know that among all the attributes that we like in GM crops is that they can withstand drought, you can have higher yield, and they are safe, because from the point of view of the Biosafety Agency, they will not even be released commercially unless they are tested and found to be quite harmless. So as far as I am concerned, to be able to optimize productivity, we have to do all these things, including embracing biotechnology. We must be able also to own up and meet up all the commitments that we made in all the number of COP meetings, conference of, we had COP 26, 27, 28, 20 on climate change. We must we must adhere to those things, because our activities are really the precursors of these floodings and spats of drought caused by early cessation of rains, early onset and late onset of rains.
Do you have an estimate of the potential economic loss to the agricultural sector at the moment?
Not really. My background is science. We do not, I can't guess, but I know it's colossal, because it's telling on, because our population is rising. And if we are not producing optimally, and we are also losing what we produce to floodings and droughts, definitely we will have a deficit. That's why I think, in spite of the fact that we are working assiduously to provide everybody with food to eat, we still have shortfall of what we produce. And that's why I think, you know, we didn't take placards or carry placards when the president said they had opened the possibility of importing some of those things that we thought we had comparative advantage in. But because it was for a fixed time frame and fixed quantities. And we know this is the global trend. Anywhere you have turbulences, you are free to really import from other places that have more, so that you hedge.
Allow me to jump on your area of expertise, and that is science, and speak more about some empirical measures. Are there measures you've seen put in place by the government? It could be state, council, or even the federal government, that can help some of your members and many of these farmers mitigate the effect of flooding and even drought you've also highlighted?
Well, you see, first and foremost, the information that you get from the ab initio also prepares you to mitigate serious effects of these calamities. But whether we like it or not, we human beings have really no control, serious control on floodings and drought. These are acts of God. So, but you can do a lot to mitigate that. And that is far from just annual floodings. You are supposed to work assiduously and to meet up all the conditionalities to mitigate climate change, the adverse effects of climate change. And we have a climate change council. The government is conscious of this, and that's why they have the climate change council. People are being educated every day to be wary of doing those things that will escalate or exacerbate the situation. And that is very important. And it's only for us now to really abide by all the do's and don'ts.
Kabir, Ibrahim, always a delight speaking with you, and I do hope we can have an update in the days ahead to see how the farmers are doing and fighting flooding and drought. Two opposites, isn't that amazing? Many thanks for your insights.
Thank you very much.